Welcome to the journey of becoming. I'm your host, Karrie Mitten. Before we get started, a quick question. Are you ready to break through to your next level? Uplevel Your Life Consulting is where executive success meets soul aligned strategy. If you're a high performing professional or entrepreneur who's accomplished a lot, but deep down know there's more clarity, more impact, more freedom, more you, then this is your moment. Our executive coaching is for leaders who are expanding their capacities to show up in bigger and bigger ways, choosing each day to be a larger expression of themselves, tired of success that leaves them exhausted, resentful, or disconnected, looking for a trusted transformational guide who understands how to lead from soul and shows up fully. With personalized coaching, proven mindset tools, and sacred vision building, we don't just scratch the surface. We go deep to unlock the part of you that's ready to surrender, embrace the unknown, and come home to who you truly are. Let's talk about what's possible for you. Book a free clarity call today, and let's create a bold vision for the next level of your becoming. Visit www.uplevelyourlifeconsulting.com to schedule your call today because you didn't come this far to only come this far. And now, on with the show. Today we have with us Joanna Shakti, founder of Ecstatic Intimacy, a transformational relationship and intimacy company that helps men, women, and all gender expressions reconnect with their authentic selves and create profoundly loving, deeply intimate, and soul-aligned relationships through coaching, events, and programs rooted in masculine-feminine dynamics and spiritual embodiment. After a successful but unfulfilling corporate career, Joanna followed a divine calling to step into her true purpose. Now, with over 30 years of experience and certifications in Tantra, journey work, yoga, and visionary leadership, she empowers others to move from successful but exhausted to turned on in life, love, and business. Her journey is a living example of what's possible when you stop performing and start becoming. Joanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Karrie. I'm super honored to be here.
We're so excited to have you here. And I was excited to have you on because this is, such a sometimes can be an interesting conversation. If people are not open to, the flow or open to the understanding of what this really is. So tell me exactly what it is that you do.
Ah, I have the privilege of holding space for men and women, all expressions of our human forms to walk the sacred, the powerful path of love, from romantic love to self-love to divine unconditional love, and all of the joys and the ecstasies and the intimacies that come through this journey of love. Because love
Mm,
is it's love at the center
mm,
of all of our being and becoming.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we are born love. We are love, right? And that's the only expression that is true and authentic, I believe. Yeah,
Yes.
beautiful.
Mhm.
And tell me, let's start at the beginning. Every transformation starts with a turning point. So, can you share with me a time in your life when that you had to make a pivotal decision to step into this?
Yeah, it was an interesting way that you asked the question, and I'm always listening to the details. In a pivotal decision, it's interesting. I would never have called it as a decision.
Okay.
Um, and so I'll back up before that moment. I
Hmm.
grew up in the heart of the women's movement in the 70s. We were one of the first divorced families in the neighborhood.
Mm.
And back when divorce was just early 70s, becoming more common. And through my watching, my witnessing of romantic relationships, I formed an opinion.
Mm.
And the romantic relationships, first my parents, and then the ones that followed for them. And my turned around projections from what I saw there and what was happening to what I thought that meant about me. And I also decided through watching some of those dynamics that I never wanted to depend on a man,
Mm.
and that I would do anything to make sure I didn't.
Mhm.
And so I'm a cisgendered heterosexual woman. And I wanted a man. I was calling in, trying to have that intimate relationship and the beauty and the passion of that. And I struggled. And I married 6'3", blonde-haired, blue-eyed par golfer, concert pianist, seemingly Prince Charming. He had his things, but I had a lot of mine. And when we divorced, I was in my late 20s and I started trying to figure out what was wrong with men.
Hmm.
But fast forward to the pivot point in 2001, I found myself at a workshop, an event. It was a multi-day event, but on this particular day, the concepts of masculine and feminine were introduced.
Hmm.
Of course, I knew the words, but I'd never really thought about how they applied to me. And that day, it felt as if I sat for the entire day with my jaw on the floor saying, this is why I'm successful. This is why I get promoted. This is why I'm recognized. This is why I'm divorced. This is why I'm exhausted. This is why I can't have an orgasm. And oh, there's a feminine woman inside me. And I would have told you I was purely masculine. I was in oil and gas and high tech, Houston, Texas, good old boys, 90s. I was masculine. And then it was like, oh no, there's a feminine being really buried in there.
Mm.
And it was that day that I literally knew that was the last day of that event. I was flying home the next day. When I got on that plane, I knew I was leaving corporate. I
Mm.
didn't decide, I just knew.
Hmm.
And I was leaving corporate from that oil and gas and high tech, climbing the ladder to serve women so they
Hmm.
didn't have to go through the pain that I went through, and to serve men so they didn't have to go through the pain that I put men through
Mm.
and all of the conditioning that we've dealt with. And of course, then as I deepened in this to understand the spectrum and the flow of that across different embodiments. But for me, because I sit on that feminine and female end of the spectrum, to really be able to hold those two aspects in
Mm.
a way that we could be happy together, be in love together, be alive together, be passionate together, be vulnerable and tender together.
Mhm.
So, about little over a year after that workshop, I woke up and I went, oh, this, and this are all aligned. Today's the day, or
Mm.
it's the time. From
Mhm.
that moment to it was,
Mhm.
it was a few weeks before I resigned, but
Yeah,
none of it was a decision.
yeah.
And I think that's a key thing is I just knew.
Yeah, I love that. And I say decision because a lot of our listeners maybe don't understand that there's a soul's calling.
Mhm.
And when your soul is calling you, if you don't answer, uh, this is when we spiral into the depression, the anxiety, the stress, the fear, the worry, the doubt, right? And yeah, so decision is really kind of on our human journey of, yes, I'm being called into something here. I'm being called into a higher ground. I am called into becoming or unbecoming, as we talked about earlier, right?
Yes.
And the decision is, you know I'm leaving corporate America to go listen to my soul's calling.
Yeah, it's interesting. If I would say the decision point, it was really the only decision point was to say yes to myself.
Yes, correct.
Like it was it was almost the choiceless choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I know what you're talking about because there's been certainly points along the way where I'm like, oh wait, I'm not letting myself open and expand. But
Mm-hmm.
that first moment, I would never, ever, ever have imagined in a
Yeah,
million years I
yeah,
would stand on stage and talk about love and relationships and sexuality.
right.
Not in a bazillion years with my MBA and my electrical engineering degree. And it's exactly what I needed to be here.
That's right. That's right. Because if you didn't experience that type of life and that, unbecoming, I guess, right, then you wouldn't be where you are today to support so many men and women who really don't have a relationship with that inner guidance and that soul's calling and the self-love. expression, right? And that's beautiful. I love that.
Mm.
So share with us, um, you know, I mean, leaving corporate America, I have a lot of listeners who are in corporate America now, and they they do have a soul's calling, or they're being called into something more. And they can't, or they're not quite hearing what that looks like. Maybe it's unclear still, but yet they know there's something more. There's going to be obstacles along the way. So share with us maybe what are the business biggest obstacles or challenges that you faced on your journey and how you overcame it.
Yeah. It's interesting. I want to there's two things that are pulling me as you ask that
Mhm.
question and
Yeah.
going back to like the decision to
Hmm.
leave corporate and that aspect of it, and then where were the challenges kind of along the way.
Sure.
Because in that first part, I don't know how this could possibly be true, but there weren't significant challenges. And yet I do on some level when I've reflected, is there was such a lightning bolt, I guess, if you will.
Mm.
And I think that you asked me before we got started what lights me up.
Hmm.
And I think that's the thing. If we pay attention to what lights us up, where do we come alive?
Hmm.
Where does everything feel like it makes sense?
Hmm.
That the mind almost stops. And there's just this presence of awareness. And so, and with that, one of the things that reflecting back, because there were the number of magic and miracles that happened in that next 2 year period was insane. It's one of the books I'm working on.
Mm.
And I've never experienced it again at the level. I've had some crazy ass things happen in my life that you couldn't write those stories.
Hmm.
But it was so consistent in those next 2 years. And as I've reflected back, the piece that I realized was that it landed as a knowing, but
Hmm.
I didn't try to make it happen, which is actually
Hmm.
masculine energy.
Hmm.
I didn't go after it. I came home from that event and I knew I was leaving, but I didn't start planning my departure.
Hmm.
I followed the energy of, oh, I'm going to go do this workshop. Oh, I'm going to do this thing. Oh, I'm going to have this practice. But there was no going after the
Hmm.
business. There was no going after the leaving.
Hmm.
And I think that's the piece that I'm coming back and continually teaching myself is just sit in the knowing.
Hmm.
And there's a feminine aspect of that,
Hmm.
that like the egg waits for the sperm.
Hmm.
The
Hmm.
feminine receives the guidance. And
Hmm.
if we'll stop, and for me, I'm like, I want to make things happen a lot. But the most magical moments have been when I stopped and I let it come to me. I
Hmm.
received it.
Hmm.
And so I want to offer that to that space of trying to decide,
Hmm.
listen, this body is an incredible barometer. It
Hmm.
knows.
Hmm. Hmm. That is beautiful. It really is true. I can remember my own journey when I was making the decision to leave corporate America. It wasn't, it really, you're right. It was not a decision. It was such a strong calling. And, and I knew that if I didn't listen to that calling, that it would probably be the death of me, quite frankly, because of the way that my life was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned to just be with it, and to and in my area of expertise, I help women become clear on what it is that they would really love in their
Mm-hmm.
life. And
Mm-hmm.
and so sitting with the soul's calling, what is it that you're being called into? And a lot of women go, well, I have no idea. I just know that there's something more. So
Yes.
I love what you say about, just the knowing. Just be with it. Just the knowing that there is something more. And we don't have to push to get there, right? We don't have to make something up just because we know there's
Please
something.
don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Please
yeah,
don't make something up because it will
yeah,
just take you to another
yeah.
place that
Yes,
is not
yes.
you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love that, that help because sometimes we know there's something more,
Mhm.
but we don't know what it is. I had the unusual blessing of I wasn't looking.
Mhm.
I was
Mhm.
trying to figure out my relationships and why I struggled with, some of my confidence and I
Mhm.
struggled with, but I had no intention, no thought that I was leaving corporate. I
Mhm.
didn't think I was going to change my life. It
Mhm.
showed up for me. And
Mhm.
so it's really different than, oh, we've got the nudge that
Mhm.
something's different
Mhm. Mhm.
or wants to be different. And then we have to go into that listening
Mhm.
process, which is what you're describing. So
Yeah.
that's so beautiful is to help women and people really open up to what is that light inside
Yeah.
me.
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Yeah. There are so many people in this world who are searching and yet they don't know to listen to that internal voice, right? So what's something that you can share with our listeners to help them to, you know, understand what that is on their journey of becoming,
Yeah,
and really lean into that, right? So how would you share that with our listeners?
absolutely. So a lot of the context of my work is relationship and particularly a lot of people come in looking at the dynamics of romantic relationship, whether they're single and looking for someone or they're in a relationship and it's not the way they want it to be.
Mhm.
And so often we're trying to solve the relational dynamic.
Mhm.
We're trying to figure out why am I not attracting? Why are we not communicating? Why is our sex life not the way that we both believe it could be?
Mhm.
And those relational questions all we try to solve them at the level of relationship.
Mhm.
But the real answers lie within the two souls, the two beings that are having that relationship.
Mhm.
And so what's happening between them is really related to what's happening within them. And so if we were to take our soul to soul relationships, and those don't have to be romantic, they can be colleagues, they can be
Mhm.
children, they can be family, friends, but our soul to soul relationships, if we call that ecstatic intimacy, when that gets good, we have to take a step backwards to what I call ecstatic authenticity.
Mhm.
And that is the being who is showing up on the job.
Mhm.
That's the being that's showing up on the date, in the
Mhm.
relationship, in the bedroom. And
Mhm.
so it all starts with who am I and how am I showing up? And is it authentic? So, ecstatic authenticity, if I were to define that, I'd basically define it as letting go of any attempt to be something, any
Mhm.
attempt to settle for something,
Mhm.
any attempt to twist ourselves into a pretzel
Mhm.
so that we can come home and reveal who we truly are in our good, bad, and ugly, because we all have it.
Mhm.
And the minute that we can recognize that if I let you see me in the parts of me that I struggle with,
Mhm.
then I can actually trust the dynamic. And if it happens to be romantic, I can begin to trust the love. But
Mhm.
if I don't let myself be revealed, I will never actually be available for love. I will never actually be available to trust the love that is on offer to me.
Mhm.
And so, ecstatic authenticity is really, I keep these silly acrylic diamonds on my desk, but
Mhm.
the brilliance of who we are
Mhm.
and everything that has covered it up.
Mhm.
And so, ecstatic authenticity is this journey of revealing the flawed, but perfectly imperfect
Mhm.
diamond.
Mhm.
And it is that gentle coming home. And I work with so many people that come in and I have no idea what my needs are. I have no idea what I desire. I have no idea what makes me happy.
Mhm.
I am clueless. And then they find the frustration because how could I be 30, 40, 50, 70 years old
Mhm.
and not know who I am,
Mhm.
what I
Mhm.
want? So the journey back is a gentle revealing of all the reasons that
Mhm.
we've put on the masks. I
Mhm.
had a very big masculine mask, and there were reasons that I had it.
Mhm.
So tending to those parts of myself so I can let go
Mhm.
of what was never me.
Mhm.
So we have to remove what blocks us from hearing, seeing, feeling
Mhm.
the authenticity within.
Mhm. Beautiful. I love that. I love that silly acrylic diamond, imagery, because we don't find diamonds beautiful in nature. In the true authentic
Right.
piece that they are, right? They're not who they are. I mean, they're not perfectly beautiful, and we get to dust it off, and the world tends to shape us up, but in reality, who we really are is that beautiful rock that we found in the side of the mountain.
Yes.
And I
Yes.
love I love that. I love that. So tell us what's next for you on your level of your
Mm.
journey of becoming.
Yeah. There has been for me a continual revealing
Mm-hmm.
as I was talking about that diamond. That's really true for me. And how much can I claim the brilliance
Mm-hmm.
of who I am? And if I'm really transparent, there's been times that that part had that voice has come in and said, "Of course, who are you to think you're that?" And even even journeying through shame, that's
Mm-hmm.
too big. That's too much. You can't want that. That you're not that person. And anyone that would want to be that person, the shame would come in. And so there's been years of pulling all that back.
Mm-hmm.
And I offer that because we don't just jump from where we are
Mm-hmm.
to who we're becoming.
Mm-hmm.
There is an unlayering, there is a revealing, there is a building of that capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And so there really is an invitation and a calling for me to really be revealed as well. I have written prolifically on my website. My books are not published yet. I have multiple that are in process. So the books and being a global presence
Mm-hmm.
of and in the conversation of love
Mm-hmm.
that I absolutely believe is the thing that will heal our world right now.
I'm right there with you, my friend. That is absolutely what this world needs, and more people like you to deliver that message in a way that, is coming from, certainly a space of love and not judgment, not ridicule, not shame, not guilt, not fear, but true, authentic, ecstatic love, right?
That,
Yes.
that.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh my goodness, I could talk to you forever. This has been so wonderful, so wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing with us today, Joanna. It's been a pleasure hearing, your journey, and I'm sure our listeners are going to feel the same way. Before we wrap up, how can our listeners connect with you and learn more about your work?
Thank you, Karrie.
Mhm.
Ecstaticintimacy.com. You will find a myriad of resources there, whether that's articles and advice. We have some retreats, we have some gifts for you, but ecstaticintimacy.com will really nourish you
Mhm.
in this path of soulful, ecstatic love.
Mm. And more of that, please. More of that, please.
Yes,
Yes.
please.
Wonderful. Well, thank you again for being here today. I know your story is going to resonate with our listeners and feel empowered and ready to take action on their soul's calling and their journey of becoming. So, for everyone tuning in, remember Your journey of becoming starts with one brave step, so take it today.
Mm.
Until next time, keep embracing your transformation. Take care for now.